It's Aisha from God FM. I hope you're having an amazing evening. Today I'm doing a sermon on my dreams again. In fact, I was going to make my own music, and I composed a song. I put all the words together. I tried to sing it. I also created an orchestra, and I still wasn't happy with it, so I deleted it and decided I'll have to get some nice backing tracks for the music I'm going to create. I was hoping to have the intro for this today with that, but no, not quite. Anyway, it will happen because I believe my vision of creating music will come true through the Lord, who is so amazing. He's in control of everything. Just to remind you that the Lord loves you very much and He's with you everywhere you go, because His name is I Am. And please don't forget that what the Lord intends for your life, there's nothing no one can do to stop that. No matter what Satan does, if he comes to mess with your life, the Lord will use that to bless you. And so, yes, even though it was a struggle today, I spent all day on it. I was so frustrated. But I think sometimes things happen for a reason. By the way, you can find God FM on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Telegram, YouTube, TikTok, all these different channels. But all the sermons on Podbean, much easier just to sign up, and it's totally free. And lots of podcasts on there, really good. Telegram's got 3 channels: God FM News, God FM Bible School, and God FM Sermons. So every day I do get dreams from the Lord, just about every day. I had a dream today, which is about doubles and twins. And yesterday I had a dream about doubles and twins. But I realized that there's quite a lot of dreams that I had not released. And I do believe, since the Lord says that He'll pour out visions and dreams on all of us, maybe we'll be able to understand things, that are due to happen in the world accordingly within those dreams, if we knew them. So I'm always looking at what other people have had dreams about with the Lord. And it's very interesting. There's a lot of people having prophetic dreams. And some of us are worried about what's going on. But what I found is, by realizing that we have got salvation and that the Lord is with us, but also that we can have this one-to-one relationship with the Lord is incredible. But He is the author and He is the authority. So He is in control of everything, no matter how bad things get. So in the Bible, it tells me about the dreams and visions, which I thought I'd read you to start with. In Isaiah 32:15, it says, "Until the Spirit is poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness becomes a fruitful field, and the fruitful field is deemed a forest." So it's all about the fruit, because Jesus is the first fruit, which is very interesting. And then Ezekiel 39:29, we also had a similar message. I don't think I've pasted that in here. We've got Zechariah 12:10. "Him whom they have pierced, and I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and pleas for mercy, so that when they look on me, on him who they have pierced, they shall mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and weep bitterly over him, as one weeps over a firstborn. And I will not hide my face any more from them when I pour out my spirit upon the house of Israel, declares the Lord God." In Joel 2:28, "And afterward I'll pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, and your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions." John 7:39. Now this he said about the Spirit, whom those who believe in him were to receive. For as yet the Spirit had not been given, because Jesus was not yet glorified. And then in Acts 2:17, in the last days, God says, I will pour out my Spirit upon all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. So God used dreams in the Bible for many different things, to warn people, to give them understanding. And this is recorded throughout the Bible. And, well, I think it's really incredible, because basically what you know then is if the Lord's with you, he is going to give you these dreams and visions. And it doesn't mean that you're superior to anyone else. It just means that it's happening with you, and it's, I think, to be shared. And it's everything to glorify the Lord. Everything he's doing is for his own glory. And that, I think, is incredible. That he is saving us. And it will be for his name's sake. Not because of us, but because he loves us. And that's his own choice. I think that's really amazing. So I've come across many people who've had dreams and visions. My daughter and I were talking about it today, and she had dreams and visions about the blue banana going in the arm. And this was a whole year before all of this happened. So I know that the Lord talks to us all. So she had this warning a whole year before. So my dreams start from the beginning of 2021. Okay. And let's see what it says. On the 2nd of January, 2022, more word dreams. Customer, Leviathan, this world is made real by words. It is all in the words. Camp, lamp, amp. No and now, no, one and on. Me, Leviathan, leave, throne, one, no, the veil. Two, and then the number two, and then two as well. Three, earth, ear, the, wisdom, mode, and so. Conquer, concur, agree, and go. Amaze and maze. Paradise, side, a rap. Parable, parable. Elohim, L-O-him. Ra, silent letters, gentlemen and ladies. So these were all in my dream, all these different words. Now, at the time, I wrote them all down. Sometimes I don't know exactly what my dreams mean. Okay. But some of those I've, already been talking about, some of the parables, and how they're comparables. And that is from that dream that I came to know that. Then on the 5th of January, words, more word dreams. Don't remember the word, also remember a restaurant. And we've just come from a meeting where we were going to have a conference. But in order to have the conference, might have been an interview type of thing. Then I had a funny dream about staircases. And this was also part of the dream. And I could see all the way up and down the staircase really easily. And there was rails, and I was using my foot on the steps up and down. But I was using the rails as well. And I was passing all the people, like I was sliding up and down. Two different types of people. The ones who believed in the garden, worked hard, and then there was a different set of people that did not. I ended up with this guy who was part of a crowd, and he showed me how easy it was to make money, and that you had to a pile of cash, and he had this pile of cash, and he just gave it to me. It kind of looked like a drug type of set of cash, It was in a contract, and it was to do with believing in the Lord. And whether, if you didn't believe in the Lord, you got this cash. So, and there was something about a once a year worship, and there was a map of the stars, and there was a lot of cards as well that were related to these stars that were made. Like, when people send you cards for your birthday, those are the sort of cards that in the dream. And there was a star that stood up, and it had its hands raised up to the Lord. And people started to tell everyone the layout of the stars was different, and that they drew the stars, and this star that had been standing was holding its hands up, but they'd drawn it different. And so the cards didn't reflect the star, and they changed it. And the hands for this one star, which was, I think, an angel as well as a star, was pointing both its hands up to praise the Lord. And they'd purposely done a card with the star, and the hands were not pointing upwards, they were pointing down. And all sorts of very interesting things with that. Okay, and then what else do we have? Then we've also got dream device field going somewhere with a device calling people. Feels like I'm not allowed to. Later, there was a book being read and a parable of the sower at the same time. And then we were going to see a lady, and she wanted some coins to do crack, a drug. I had a device for making calls that might be taken away, and I had to pretend I didn't have it. And then there was this man who was sitting opposite me, and I had to be very careful. He asked me to explain the book and the parable of the sower in the dream. Now I've got another one, which is a recent classroom dream. It's just headed up about syringes and the person in the pits. And I think I've already discussed that one, which I'd put there. Then I've got dream, X marks the spot. X marks the spot, old house, new house. I was driving around, and there was a new house, and it was really nice. And there was actually a new sort of roundabout. It was like a shabby area, and to find the new house, there was an X that marked the spot, something to do with God coming back. And it was like the new house had been put right by the old house, but no one really knew it was there. And that's why it had an X to mark the spot. And the exit was also the entry, and it's something to do with words. I couldn't drive down the road for the new house because there was a letterbox, and something opened by the house, some sort of thing that was blocking the path. So I had to reverse, and I was told to go down the other entrance, old property entrance, which would be the new house as well as the old house. So it sometimes doesn't make sense. Okay. Then I had a dream about the 10th Amendment. I had a dream about something to do with fire and hell and God doing a new thing. The 10 Commandments, and somehow after that is the 10th Amendment. And so that was what I was given. And I was looking at the words of the 10 Commandments. Within the 10 Commandments are 10 moments as well. And it's covert, as in covered is coverts. The meaning I've got highlighted here. Slowly, we've had 10 commandments stripped from us. And we've still got the Ten Commandments, but they've got a covered way of expressing the truth, and it isn't the truth that way. And then I've got words within this, which is covert, covered, convert, dove, cover, love, and Jesus, the new laws. And then on the 12th of January 2022, Truth is here. I had a dream about Mr. Truth. We were waiting for Mr. Truth to arrive, and we discovered that while we were waiting, we had a message come down to us that we didn't need to be waiting for Mr. Truth because Mr. Truth had already been here. It's a very strange dream. But we were all waiting at this property for Mr. Truth, and that was when the message came to us that he wasn't coming because he'd already been. So we realized we needed to stop waiting for Mr. Truth to arrive. Then on the 16th of January, I had a dream of words. And this one I couldn't really remember, but was there any particular word? Let me read this. It identifies where you are in life and also people's names, and also represent where you are and who you're with, and testing. For example, the lady, when I got storm raided by the government, her name had swastika in it, so it's something to do with the Second World War. I thought from my dream. Okay. Then I had the dream on the 18th of January 2022 about drawers. Vaguely remember my dream locking bedside drawers and putting keys somewhere so that the drawers didn't fall open. And somehow this meant that the people couldn't go outside either. Dun, dun, dun. Something, I don't know. I know that other people are complaining in this dream, and someone else commented. And so she wanted to look in the drawers, and there was a letter, something about a letter, and looking for a letter. And then there was a part of the dream with someone else saying, nothing else matters in your life, and that realizing that you're a Jewish girl, basically been working all their lives and then struggling in business, etc. But it's okay because you realize that you're a Jewish girl. Then on the 20th of January 2022, it's about octagon. I had a dream about all the different shapes, and basically October means 8, as in octagon shape, and is 8. And that was confirmed twice in that dream, which would be similar to the infinity sign, which is never ending. I think about all of this unusual shapes and structures from the Aztecs, and then all the buildings like the American Pentagon, and they've got the 5 diamond pointed shape. But again, this is to confirm that different cultures, maybe at different times, had different shapes for different regions and different years. If you know that October is the 8th month, then we'll know that which each month is and which month we really are in at that moment. The rest of the dream was about words, and I can't remember anything else. Then on the 22nd of January, I had a dream about a costume. I had a swimming costume at the pool, and I was wearing this white swimming costume, and then I remembered I was suddenly naked in the pool, and I was trying to conceal myself because I realized I was naked. And there was this other swimming costume with me, which was black, and it had the words bride on it, and I ended up putting that on and having a little swim in that for a while. And then I put on another little costume, which was all floral and really pretty. And it also had a frilly bottom to it. And it had a piece of lace over the top as well, and straps that were really comfortable. It really supported me, and I remember feeling how flattering it was, and comfortable. And it now became my favorite costume in the dream. My dream the next day, or same day, Friday the 22nd of January 2022, was a time miniature physical map. I had a very strange dream about different things that have happened in the past that were recorded and typed in a letter with a heading. And each time a click or a heading would happen with this letter, you'd get an image and the full story of the true history, and it would all connect all the other headings, and it would be so different to what we've been told, and that it was a way of understanding the truth. So it was like a TV screen, if you can try and understand that, with headings which you clicked, and then you got images. When there was another image, and it was like a diagram map that was 3D on a table, and this was also connected with history. One could go around history, as in the images, as if like a person, myself, to a certain point. My image did not appear because there were different people, and that was because I needed to enter through the magnifying glass at a different angle. Then I was able to manipulate myself back into the story and walk around the story on the map. This map that was on the table was a bit like a steam railway track of from the sort of 1950s that people would build for their houses, as in mini railway track houses. Anyway, what I noticed is every time I clicked a different part of the story, it would connect to all the other bits of the story, and you'd get a picture and a little video, and all the words would connect with the videos and people. But people didn't believe the story. But it didn't matter what part of the story you entered, because it all connected to the other bits of the story. Supernatural dream. Okay. I'm trying to just read it. My paper keeps folding over. Okay. And it made a lot of sense, and it was the truth, because you couldn't have one bit of the story without all the other bits. And the story itself was so complicated that I can't really remember all of the images and the videos and how it all connected with the bits of the headings and the sentences. But in some cases, some of the bits were repeated, and they were like reruns of the story, and they all connected and joined the bits of the story together. And then on the 23rd of January 2022, I had a time reset dream. I had a dream that I could put on any date I wanted to go to that date, and there would be many results. It was like a Google search engine, and I was given any dates of the resets that I wanted to go to. But if you put in the right data, you would find it, but it would be quite hard to find it without the right information. And I would go to whatever date I put into the search engine, and I would be in that place at a different time. And then my commentaries, I've come to realize that all the places have names that mean things. For example, Washington, D.C. equals Washingtown, New York, New Yoke, Cambridge, Lambride. My next dream was on the 25th of February 2021. In my dream, I was told that we are halfway through the seventh week of Daniel in the prophecy. In another part of the dream, I was in a radio station, and we were going to do adverts for the furniture. Then in another part of the dream, I was in a shop buying things, and there were a couple of other cars there which in the car park. We got in the car, and my car was able to stand up like an animal. In another part of the dream, I was making different things to go with songs, like the Hakuna Matata from that Lion King song. Strange. To go in front of the song, there was a program I was putting on, and I was showed a screen, and it was put at the beginning or at the end of the song. While I was making these things and putting together this video, I discovered that actually there was this place and it needed to go in front of the song. That was the way the program worked. I think it might have been ringtones as well. And then I've got a dream, Ma Sun. Oh, so all of the ones we have written 2021 is actually 2022. Beg your pardon. Ma Sun had a dream about the Masons and how they are the sons of Ma or Am. And I thought that was very interesting because Jesus does tell us the story of God's wife, or why he decides to create the human beings. And it turns out to be Satan who has robbed the Lord and robbed us. And it's about transferring powers over to Satan, and Satan takes all the power away from us. And it's all in the middle of nowhere, like we're lost. And all the other angels joined in with Satan. There is a spelling thing here about God's wife. I don't know if it's God's wife because I can't remember that far back, okay? But I have got the word God's wife here. I don't know if it means that I had a dream that he had a wife. Can't remember. Anyway, sometimes I jot these dreams down, then I can't really read it. Sometimes there's mistakes. Okay, then I've got the 3rd of February 2022. I had a dream that everything in time was like a big circle. And it was also another circle and another time within that time and circle. And again, it would repeat and repeat and repeat, like it was never ending. And I suppose you could say it was similar to Ezekiel and his wheel. That's how I describe it. And then I got time recording, dream time recording, 4th of February 2022. I had a dream that everything that actually happened is recorded within the timelines, but it's recorded as 1,000 years earlier. So I thought in the dream. So the way I thought it was maybe a planner, like each time when I click it, so it's like a screen again, it would be the year 1500. Then within this mix, it would actually be 500. And all the events that actually happened were mixed in with the lies. There were loads of different spots to stop at and have a look at particular records that were very important. There were particular dates where the lies had been mixed into the truth. And it was just a standard practice that you knew that everything that you had to collect in terms of information, every timeline, you collected the information, contained the truth, but also it contained the lies. And then I had a dream about Capricorn. I had a dream about Capricorn being April Fool's Day, like the fools. And it's like the goats, the Fool's Month. It's very interesting. And then since that dream, I've also worked out that the beginning of the year is the goat, which is Capricorn. And on the maps, it is also Capricorn and the goat. And I've since had a dream about that from the Lord, that the maps have to match the beginning of the year. And I don't know why, but kind of makes sense. So maybe that's why the beginning of the year matches the map, which also says Capricorn. Anyway, that will be in one of my dreams when I read it to you. Hopefully it will be today. I don't know. Dream time. I had a dream about time again. What I remember is that there was different maps and different types of calendars, and it was either a calendar or a map, and it was hard to know which one was the first one, and I can't find the different copies. I couldn't find the different copies of the different times to try and work it out, and it was all starting to slot together, but there was some extra maps which I'd have to get as well to fit in the timesheet in order for the things to work and match up. I went to the Apple store and I purchased through them some information at the Apple store. I needed to realize that I didn't need to buy them, and some of them are very expensive at £120, £500, £250, and I could have just taken a screenshot of them instead of going to the Apple store to buy them. I remember thinking how good it would be if I just prayed. And I thought, well, I didn't need to pay for these things through the Apple store. And then there was something about paying by cash. Sometime before this or after this, within the stream, I was at the entrance of a property, which appeared to be my home. And there was a machine outside which looked like a ski machine, for skiing. And that it meant that it was going to be redone and redecorated. And then I went into my daughter's bedroom, what appeared to be her bedroom, and I noticed that the whole place had been redecorated. The windows just looked a bit messy, like you could tell it was not quite finished. I remember being quite frustrated that this was not finished very well. After waking up, God showed me something, which means that all of the planets and all of the stars and all of the sun and the earth and the giant clock, and it spins around like a clock. Time speeds up when it reaches the end of an age. And from that, I can probably figure out the time by looking at it like a clock. But it has something to do with time, space, matter, and coming to an end. I don't know what it means. The way I understand it is that times are linking in with times, and they merge, and eventually they come to one final point in the middle, and they reach your destination, as in the destination, completed the cycle, which again I don't really understand. On one of the maps, I noticed there was the date 1500, and on the other was 1200, and then on the other was 1700. And the ones I got before I went to the Apple store, and they were the ones I got from the shop. So basically what I was shown is I'd gone to this Apple store to get these maps, and I didn't need to because I could have got them from Google and screenshot them. So a lot of it was about obtaining the information, having to pay for it, when I didn't need to. I could have just found it another way. Another dream on the 11th of February 2022. I had a dream about the people that will make it and the people who won't. By that I mean God will choose. I remember in the dream I was shown the number 144,000. I was told that with the billions of people on the planet, that is all that will be saved. In my dream, I remember thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to make it because I've been such a bad person, and was shown in my dream that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't going to make it. And I panicked, and I realized that God was coming probably that night or the very next day. And I rang my daughter to explain that she really needed to repent and change. The message was to change. I remember thinking that in my dream, I must pray. I believe in God and I've read the Bible, but there's still this nagging, if you like. I hadn't done everything that was right and still I wasn't worthy. I felt tremendous fear, and I realized that God is all about the light and saving the wicked from this darkness. So if you're wicked in your heart, you need to change. I was also shown that God loves us and forgives us through his grace and kindness. We see that this is part of God's grand plan in forgiving us all, and that he accepts us, but we have to surrender. Well, once you've received the forgiveness, you have to change and you have to become a good person. I remember crying and thinking that, I need to get on my knees and pray to God that I'm worthy. I remember feeling incredible fear of God, and it was such a powerful feeling that he was so holy, and I couldn't be in his presence because he was so holy. And he was full of justice to judge the people like he was ready to judge them now. I was saying that after you die, it's too late, that you can't change after that. I remember when I woke up from this dream, I was thinking, wow, here I am. Am I going to make it to heaven? I might not. It made me realize why people like Wycliffe gave up everything in their lives to follow God and to do the work of the Lord. And Wycliffe published the Bible some years ago, by the way. And so there's all sorts of people that the Lord wants. I remember talking in my dream and saying, there are many people on earth that think they're saved, but they're not. And it was really frightening. And I was worried. And I just understood that God is so righteous and holy. And I wasn't holy enough to stand in his presence because he's so holy. I was shown in another part of the dream about a child standing by the fire with his friend. And this was shown to me in the dream. This man did everything he could for his child. And he was a good man because he had done what was worthy, what was right in the eyes of the Lord. In the dream, it was implied to me that the people who have children need to do everything they can to look after them, to be a good parent, instead of running off after everything else in life, because this life is a test. Next section. So if there is just 144,000 people saved, and this number is clearly given, there isn't a figure that is given for Gentiles. There isn't anything clear about that. But we do have the number 144,000, and if we work with that figure, we're in deep trouble. I was also shown in the dream that when you meet God, you will know instantly what I mean. Instantly know that God is holy and righteous and actually really scary, that he is kind and gracious, but won't let any wicked people in. And if you haven't really changed in your heart or your ways, you won't make it. I also saw when people find out that they're not going to make it, they will kick themselves because it's a pretty obvious error that they've made. We've all been blinded. I was really frightened in this dream, realizing that God will not accept anything but only the holy, clean people. Okay. And then on the 12th of February 2022, the heading of this dream is Written Truth. Everything contains the truth in my dream, and it doesn't matter how you read it. You just have to decide it and believe it. then you'll know that it is the truth. Some words that you've read backwards can also mean what it means opposite. I was also being shown that Jesus had already come here, and I was under the impression that maybe he had done something like a rapture already in this dream. But it was strange, and I couldn't really understand whether he was coming or he was here. But it was urgent. But I can't remember much more. So what I found with this dream is it was written as words down on a sheet of paper. And by reading and seeing these words, I could understand the truth. Everything made sense about the truth. And then towards the end of the dream, I felt like Jesus was here, or he was coming. And in this dream, it was also implied that he'd already got the people, like the rapture, or whatever people call it. Can't remember. I got the word Khan. I don't know what that means. But last night I was online, and there was someone on Facebook that had put Khan is Jesus. So I don't know if that was maybe why I had this name come up in my dream. It might be because our realities have crossed over, and reality has crossed over into the dream world. That's the other part of the dream that was shown to me. Then on the 17th of February 2022, I had a dream about being in a place, and I think it was something to do with names. For example, Seir, which is S-I-E-R. Either way, the place wasn't ours. It was the enemy's land, and either we were going to have to leave or we were going to be forced out, and we were trying to make a plan. I know that in the dream we had been deceived, and this might have something to do with all the names being changed and the places on the earth. Then I had a dream on the 26th of February 2022, and it was the heading of "This is Dying and Coming Alive." In my dream, I was shown that you had to die to come alive, and there were 3 elements to it. You've got the body, soul, and mind, and then you come alive. I also heard, I think within it, the word millennium. I think what it means is that you die and then you come alive at the millennium. This is the second dream I've had about dying and coming alive. But I couldn't remember the previous one until I had this one, and I don't remember the full dream from before. One thing to note is that I was shown a list of all sorts of attributes, or maybe it was a list of people, as the 3 elements had been completed, as in dying and then coming alive. It was highlighted within the list as in dark font. So either there must be other attributes that are, just bear with me, part of your life journey, or it's other people. These might have been the attributes of your life and your journey with the soul and the spirit. See, some of the dreams are very hard to interpret. Okay. Sometimes I don't think I write enough detail, so I go back to it and think, I don't really know what that means. Anyway, here's another one. Dream, 1st of March 2022, planes and engines. I had a dream about planes and engines, that we were repairing planes and engines, and it was very hard to find planes and engines because they'd all been destroyed. So you could take little parts from certain planes and put them back together. But the engines were the most important part. There was a scrapyard as well, and this was for all the trash aeroplanes, and there was other trash there as well. There was a guy working there, and he would only take on people who weren't working with the engines. And one day, because he knew we were watching, he played some satanic music. There were buses above us, and they weren't, with buses were not very good people. I was due to have a meeting with one of the bosses as one of the planes they had been repaired. And I had figured out how to repair the plane, and all the planes I knew how to repair, and the engines as well. The planes could be stuck back together very easily with something like a type of tape, since they were made out of tin foil. It's also a kitchen type foil. And then I was preparing food, and the sauce I had made had something to do with it. There was a room that was filled with lots of different cubicles, and we'd have to go in them to see all the different people. The cubicles had different people in them, and there was a queue of about 5 people. I remember thinking I didn't have the time to wait in the queue. When I woke up from the dream, I was being shown the words sum up everything. This reality is not real. Satan is sat on demons, and demons are demons. I am, and men are M and then N. Aliens are AI, ions. AI is AI. Basically, I found out this differently through calling different things different names. And they've done this to deceive us. And also the word Thomas was given about writing left to right and right and wrong and live and evil. Also, Jerusalem is not a place. It's in you, as in Salem, Zion. It's not a place. It's the Alpha and the Omega, as in the Z, Ion. This all made sense in my dream. Very simple, very easy, but now I'm awake, I cannot understand it. Okay. Then another dream called Truth. I had a dream that I would go from one place to another in a special type of flying machine, and I had to be in a certain place to zoom in or sonic move, if you like, to another place, because my machine was a little bit old-fashioned. There were people who were doing the same, but I was winning, and I was able to get to various islands, and on these islands were relics where we would find the truth in balls. And we would also wake up at the data centers, which would be like little rooms in a field about the size of a shoebox. A shoebox foot long, a thin shoebox. And I remember meeting 3 people in one of these rooms. It was like it had desks, maybe computers on them, on one side of the room. It was like a shoebox house, like a shed, and a glass window on one side, and all through the middle. And we were in the middle of nowhere in a field. The flying machine was, I think, a greeny blue color, and it looked a bit like a circular shape, long and thin. Before I woke up, some of the people had got to the truth center and got to the truth. I went to go and have a look afterwards as well. I remember that when I woke up, I got the message about the Court of Justice being really grand in Cornwall, and there are courts of justices all over the world, and they were made for the same reason and the same purpose. And they were very grand, and I needed to look into that. Then on the 6th of March 2022, I had a dream which I was shown documents with the word Goyim. And I was, there was something, they were saying it's not a boy and it's not a girl because it has a goy in it. And then it has the word in. And then I was shown another part of the dream. Raman had a child. Hang on. Let me just excuse that last bit. We're still on Goyim. I was shown that all the words like this tell you what they are by breaking them apart. Very interesting. So this means they knew that these giants, or whatever they were not boy or girl. They were Goyim, as in I am. What this means is they pretended to be gods. And they came from a sort of slightly different division of God because they were different to us. So they had boy bits and pieces and girl bits and pieces because they were angelic beings. Okay, next dream. 10th of March, 2022. Real life, calling my name 3 times. Oh, okay. So this wasn't a dream. It was a note that I'd written down. Okay. That evening, about 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I could hear someone in the entrance calling my name. It was quite a silent male voice, and it sounded like one of my students who was staying. And he said, Aisha. And a few seconds later, I heard it again, and then a third time, and I ignored it. While this was happening, I thought, well, must be the student. I'm just going through the lounge at the moment, doing bits and pieces. I'm just going to ignore it. And so later that day, I was reminded of when the Lord called Solomon. And obviously he wanted to talk to Solomon. And so I wondered if the Lord had been calling me, because I spoke to the student and he'd said, no, I never called you. So I wondered if it was just my imagination or whether the Lord was calling me. Okay. Then oh yes. Whew, this is creepy actually. 3 days later, on the 13th of March, I had a dream about knocking. I was woken up by knocking, and I thought I heard 12 knocks on the door. The knocking was very precise, and it was really loud, and it was short knocks together, but aggressive and really loud. Someone was really knocking to try and get in. I thought that there were 2 sets of 6 in the particular pattern of knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. So it was like knock, 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 knock. No, was it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. It sounded like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Knocks like that. And then when I woke up, I was totally frightened. At the time, I was dreaming about the Illuminati and being illuminated. And there was a set of papers which I was looking at the WeChat papers. And there were shapes and diagrams on it. When I woke up, I thought that someone had knocked on the door, and I thought it was a real knock on the door. But I was so frightened, my heart was thumping so loud. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was really, really strange. And I have a cat, and what made me realize it must have been a dream was because my heart was thumping. I couldn't even hear myself. I was so frightened. It was someone real at the door. I thought someone was trying to get in. I was absolutely petrified. I just lay in bed, totally petrified. And then I thought, right, I'm going to go and, just try and relax now. I'm not going to answer the door. I'm going to see if it knocks again. And I sat there for quite some time. And then I realized that my cat was lying next to me, sound asleep. And he would have been jumping around, if someone really had knocked on the door. So that helped me because I thought, oh, it was just a dream. But it was so real. It was so frightening. And it's interesting that I had this dream 3 nights after the calling my name. Then I also had another dream about Apocrypha. And so after I'd gone back to sleep, the same night, I had another dream called Apocrypha, which I've called about 2 green books, which were old, with gold writing and calligraphy writing with I-800, first and second Apocrypha. I had a dream about 2 books, and they were green and gold, and it was the first Apocrypha and the second Apocrypha, and they were from 800 years, not 1800s. And the clue lies in the books that were written because it says it was I-800. I was also shown that if you search other countries for the first and second Apocrypha books, then you will find more clues. Germany was definitely a place to consider. The Apocrypha is the Apocalypse books. The other thing I thought about when I was waking up was that any Charlotte Bronte books will also be from this time, and similar books to this also. So these things spring in my mind after I wake up, so I assume I'm still in a half-conscious state, so I jot down anything I think as well. And I don't always know what it means, okay? Oh dear. Then on the 14th of March, I had a dream about German. Goyim, girl, man. Dream Germans are Goyim, girl, man. Germ, main. Germ, virus. COVID-19, as in bioweapons. Well, obviously, I don't think that Germans are Goyim but it's funny that I get these funny words and things to decode. And I do think that the names of each different nationality must come from somewhere. So, and I think we can find things out from that. Then I had the dream 26 of the 3rd, 22 voice memos, words. I had a dream about voice memos, which was sent and received. In the memos revealed supernatural meaning within the words and also connected with the previous messages and other messages that were received and sent. Very strange. Things like the revelation, R-E-V, re, val, at, ion. There are lots of words connected like reveal and value and val. Transvaal, transatlantic state, Trans-Jordan, Val, water, transfer, trans-change, water, new water, big revelation, red rum, murder, angel, angle, Orange Free State, Galilee, gallon, water, val, gal, etc, Galilee, gull, I, lie. So place names all over the world tell you what they are. The Val, it's all about the water being reborn and the living water. I don't remember the dream exactly, but it was things like this that were revealed in the dream, but not exactly this. There is many other things as well. Something about the word reveal everything. I want to speak to them and refer to them from a different time. I saw it somehow activated in the mind in different places in a spiritual place or time or sphere. It was very weird. The dream made sense at the time, but as I woke up, I found it very hard to put it into words. Then on the 13th of April 2022, I dreamed, and it was very strange. I can't really explain it. I can't really remember, but it was basically different places and stages of your life. And there was this gentleman who was calling me to go to this place. And it was like we all needed this information, and we would see who would float in the air, and we'd get up and go down to different places. And I think what it means is if you know the beginning, then you'll know the end. In the beginning, there was light in the darkness, and the darkness could not overcome it. The light, that is. I thought of the film, The Never-Ending Story, and what the lady princess says. In the beginning, there was always darkness. So maybe we have to have darkness first, and then we get the light at the end of the tunnel. And the light overcomes the darkness. Therefore, the end and the beginning are one. It's crazy, isn't it? Okay. Right. Then I've got the dream on the 15th of April. Deeds sealed. Seal, as in swimming, and sealing in an envelope. Your fate. Deeds, your final inheritance claim, your deeds, etc. Judgment. The main message was being sealed like an envelope, as in finished. Thank you, with a big seal of your deeds on this envelope, like with wax. And also with seals and swimming. I've had very similar dreams, but couldn't remember them. And I think the Lord is trying to show me something here. And don't forget that sharks eat seals, and we are also, when we're in the water, often mistaken to be seals, and the sharks eat us. Yes. So that was something that came to my mind when I woke up from my dream. Okay. And then I had a dream on the 20th of April. Backwards, upside down, mirror and reflect. I had a dream about the words being meaning backwards in the names of places, but also the world is like the body. And if I can find the head, I can find the left and the right and the bottom. And I can find out who are the good guys, as in east and west. Also, I was shown to read the words backwards, but also to get a mirror to see the reflection of the word. So I need to buy a little mirror and start using that so that I can see what things mean. I think I've had this dream before, and the Lord tried to show me it before. I think the words like Allah and things like that have clues and names of places and people. And the actual word means something, as well as forwards, as well as backwards. This is where the answers lie. The names of places and the names of people, east and west, north and south, the head and the tail. My next heading is warning the people, and this was on the 23rd of April. I had a dream where lots of things led up to a certain day where there was people out with tables, and there was sheets of paper and rules. And I was speaking to this lady, and I said, no doubt you're also pushing the LGBT being gay and swapping sexes and things like this. And I actually spoke to her and said to all of the people that were there, I spoke for the whole world, or just the whole of the UK. And I said, I speak for the whole world and the whole of the UK. And everybody was standing listening to me. And I said, I'm a child of Abraham, and I serve the Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I'm telling you that if you don't stop this, that the Lord will punish you. I remember seeing it and thinking, what am I saying? Feeling like not meant to be doing this as well. I was like, what am I saying? I wasn't feeling confident. But I was sure that they were listening. And if they weren't going to stop, then what they were doing, then the Lord was going to punish them. They looked a bit scared as well when I was speaking to them. And I thought to myself, right now, they know that the Lord is going to come after them and they will stop this. Before this, I was going around chasing a white car, and there appeared to be several of these white cars, and I had to try and find the same car. I've had quite a few cars that look similar in dreams, but it was more of a white van that I was chasing, and it makes me think of trafficking people, which is happening in the world. Okay. Then on the 23rd of April, second dream, another dream, fish tank. I had a dream that when you were reborn, you had to clean your fish tank, and it was very important, and you could watch Saving Nemo again, as it might be related. You could take out everything that was in the tank, all of the glass, and give it a good clean, remove all the moss, and everything had to be re-cleaned so that it could be reborn. We went to an epic type of fair where we had to park near a river, and we parked near the section where only the workers parked, and we were going to clean the fish tank at this location. Then a dream on the 25th of April, dream windows, air, and word. In my dream I was shown a house with windows, but they had extra windows on top of the windows so that the air could not come in. In the dream, we were told that this would not affect the air, but it would mean that they would be more focused air, provided you knew how to open the windows correctly. We were all worried that we would not get enough air. It was like the windows of the house related to the world. Maybe Bill Gates in the window program will stop us from getting air and stop us from getting God's word. They are trying to tell us lies, but the word will expose the lies. And his word, the Lord, will expose it, and he will make sure that his people can breathe and get the word to survive. But you will need to be pure and clean. Or perhaps the dream meant that the windows were the new form of the word, as in the injection, Satan, as his word being imposed on people. But like the air that you breathe, you can't change the word, no matter what they do to restrict you. The fact that these were the new windows might be the new blue banana they're putting in your arms, compared with the normal windows, as in being normal without having the blue banana. Just the word. Then I've got word compared with air you needed to breathe. So something to do with the windows had something to do with the air. And it was about letting a certain amount of air in so that you could breathe. I wondered if the word may be related to windows. And what else have I got? And glazing, what it might mean as well. Okay, no matter what you do with the word, it will return fruitful. I was saying this, that no matter what people say, as in lies, the word cannot return unfruitful. And the lies are exposed, and the word comes true. No matter what someone does to prevent the word, its lies will be exposed by the truth within the word, which is the word, which is the truth. Okay. Then I was shown a dream on the 27th of April 22. I had a dream about a severed penis that was still growing, and it was somehow connected with a book that this group of people had published without giving the financial royalty to the author. They were trying to work out a way to keep getting the royalties without paying the author of the book. Something about the penis growing had something to do with this, and I don't really understand what this means, but the penis would grow and get bigger, and it wasn't attached to a body, it was severed. The way I saw this, it was in a dream. We were in a big house type of office environment, and in one office, they were sitting there with a penis on their lap, waiting for it to grow. And then at the desk, the people are discussing the book and how to keep publishing it and receiving the money without paying the person who had actually written the book. And it was so important to them because from what I could understand is that they had been found out, and now they would have to start paying the royalties of the publishing of this book. So every time they received money for the book, they would have to pay some money out to the author. I don't know how long it had been going on, but they were trying to figure out a way to stop paying for it. Okay. Whew. And now another dream. 2nd of May 2022. Being Christian, living water. I had a dream where I think a Christian was all about being good, walking up to the stream and being in the stream. Can't remember. And then there was this other part of the dream where the living water made you alive and you were hooked up to it. It was quite complicated. The Christian part meant that there are different levels that you went through, and then you would reach the heightened part of the awakening where every thought and every feeling came to one place, and it was to see that everyone else was also in this connection with the world. It was at complete harmony and peace. And at the very top, it linked up to the living waters, which were streams which hooked up to the Christians. It was all about being alive in Christ, and nothing was hidden. Even the beds and the people's beds were made good. And all Christians were independent, but also linked up. So it's got something to do with your bed also. Okay. And then on the 10th of June, I had a dream which I just noted the essentials about the Mandela effect, about being in two places and two times at the same time, trying to escape with what all the organizers are doing. A man that I knew but I did not know, a right type of thing, escaping out of this reality under the next doorway, mourning, as in when you mourn for someone. The devil lived afternoon, evening, night, and night as in someone who fights as a knight. Capricorn the goat, Pisces, deeds and seeds, dead and deeds, hello, words and spell, English language, new. Then I've got next set of dream. So I don't actually know what that dream was about. I just not jotted down the notes. And then I must have forgotten it because sometimes I wake up, jot it down, and then go back to bed. Anyway, dream words, 22nd of June 2022. In my dream, I was in a room adjusting the volume on a hi-fi, and my daughter was in the other room, and the hi-fi speaker and everything was all of it shaped like an L, and there were some speakers up against the wall, and we were both commenting on how beautiful these speakers were, and the sound was amazing. And then I realized that the front door might not be locked, and that I should check it. And just then, when I went to check it, I realized I didn't have a standard key thing to lock the door, but a funny knob, which had a bit of a screwdriver top to it. And so I went to turn it, make sure it was locked. Just then the door opened and no one was there. So I closed the door, but I did wake up, quite startled and frightened by this for some strange reason. When I lay down in my bed, I got lots of information, which was like a download on words. Soil, so ill. Daniel, denial. Elizabeth, L, lies, a bet. And javelin, draws, line. Very interesting words. I had virtually the whole dictionary download, but I can't remember very many words. I think just soil, which is so ill. And Satan eats the soil. And if you're a sinner, you get ill. Very interesting. Illness is related to being a sinner. So we know from the New Testament anyway. Okay, then we've got a dream, 14th of July 2022, backwards, mirror, reflect. I had a dream where I was shown that everything that Satan does is backwards. This means that it is the reverse of God. Devil backwards is left, as in lived. So you have to look in a mirror to see it, because in a mirror everything is written backwards. And that's why you can't see Satan. Everything is contained in the words. And if you dissect them and go backwards, use a mirror, you'll be able to understand a bit more. Even the Bible. So if you go right, this is correct because it is right. But if you go left, that is bad because it is wrong. It's the opposite to right. This will apply to everything. And every single aspect of your life, including birth and death. Words contain all of the secrets within our realm. That's why deeds become deeds. Jesus says that when you know the end, you'll know the beginning. I mean, these are incredibly clever dreams, some of these. And often when I'm taking notes down, I'm still half asleep. So incredibly clever. Then my next dream is about worms. People are not born inherently bad. In my dream, I was shown that it isn't something you inherit from family, but it is something that invades your body, like worms. It's like a disease. It looks like, in the dream, they were trying to show me that you can get infected with evil through worms that take over your body, and they turn out to be demons because they offer a shell of a body for the demons to live inside, something within you. Okay. That's very interesting, isn't it, I think? Because I think that worms are demons as well. Okay, then I've had a dream on the 18th of July, words. I had a dream about all these words and how they confirm everything and give us clues to things. Transfer, water of life, which you transfer, as in translate, to become a new translated into heaven. A slate, a plate, a mountain plateau, a vial of water, a via, L, as in L, God. Land, Orange Free State. Orange Free State. State is in the speak of words which is alive. The word which is the truth. Transmit, with, transfer, translate. Orange Free State, Orange Free Slate. Transveil, vial. Remove the veil, the water that opens your eyes and gives you life, which is the truth, and the word, which is God. Transfer, forever, the, govern. God's really trying to show me what the words mean. I'm just so dumb, I can't figure it out. Okay. Maybe a clue lies in the dates that these places were named, given as in not on old maps. Look at the other names, including Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Lanseria. Lands, translate, area, aria, Afrikaans, die, the language. So instead of the, they have die, die. This would indicate that Jesus has already been here and ruled for 1,000 years. Yet, just yesterday I was talking to someone and they were at this big gathering in a field called Freedom Field. Apparently it was always named Freedom Field. Like we're in a Matrix game. This is all a stage. This is what I was noting down after my dream. People are standing up for freedom and they meet in a field called Freedom Field. There's no coincidences. When I look at this and what was happening in my dream, I just realized that it's all to do with the truth. And I jotted some notes about the white horse, the bow, the weapon, the sword of truth in Jesus' mouth. He comes to conquer. He hasn't come to bring peace. He's come to cause the division as well through the truth. Test dust. Something happens by causing dust, and such is a hassle getting rid of dust. But Satan is in control, and he eats the dust, which is matter, and we return to the dust. Satan eats the dust. Then I looked up a word, affricates. All palmonic consonants are included in the palmonic consonant table, and the vibrants and the laterals are separated out so that the rows reflect the common lenition pathway of stop, fricative, approximant, as well as the fact that several letters pull double duty as both fricative and approximant. Affricates may be created by joining stops and fricatives from adjacent cells. Shaded cells represent the articulations that are judged to be impossible. Africa's language seems to be a Phoenician language originally. So this is what I found on Google. But the affricates gives me the impression it might be something to do with sound. Anyway, so I often jot notes down. Dream words. 21st of July 2022. Presence and then gifts, and then presence as in God's presence. And then we got power. Okay, so basically with God's presence, you've got a tower and a power, and it powers up a circuit board and it's switched on, a bit like a chip for a circuit board with lines and wiggles in it. Electricity and God and presence may be. His and this. Words like his become, with a T, this. So it is with your walk with God, where you add letters to words and change the stage and the character that you are in within the sentence, but also within the word and the world. But you need God's presence, and He gives you presence, as in wisdom and gifts of knowledge, to connect the circuit board and power up to connect with God, and also somehow your mind, which is all to do with electricity, I think, as well. The dream made a lot of sense in the dream, but now it's very hard to put it into words. It occurred to me that I was running my business, and basically everything that happened to me, as in everything being lost, God had to let me go through that so that I'd concentrate on Him and His presence. I was getting lost in my business, and that's why the Lord had to bring me back. Once you've connected up with God's presence, the words of the sentence in your life are made alive. He gives you presence. His presence with you is past, at present, and future. It all made sense at the time. Also connected with time, but also connected through the circuit board as you become elect and generating power in the tower of electricity. He comes alive inside you. This must mean that you become past, present, and future in His presence of His story and book, which is the Word and the life and the light and the power and the truth. This means the truth will set you free and you will know the truth. Then on the 22nd of July 2022, I had the word Scandinavian, cards and hearts, stars, clubs, spades. The machines don't belong to the person with the machines. They pretend to own them. Be careful. Talking about who hacked who. I was hacked, telling them they could be hacked. So in my dream, it's like the TV shows they put us. It's cards, it's hearts, clubs and spades. It's about bending time, space and matter, time machines, pretending to be someone they're not. So these are the notes that I took, and I didn't take a full note of the dream, okay? That's all I've got. Then I've got the 24th of July. Word inflation is to slay sun, as in slay, sun, ion. In slay, ion. In slays, on. And CERN is in CERN, fern, vern, to govern. Technology, technologic. Numbskull, as in dumb, numbers, sentence, words together, prison, sentence. Then on the 26th of July, I had download. In my dream, I was shown that I was unable to download enough of the information and I couldn't get through. Either it's me or it could be that I'm having difficulty sharing information with others, with the downloads and the communication, and maybe that is the problem. I was not able to understand. Something like this was shown to me, that I was not able to communicate the information because it wasn't comprehensible by the time it had been downloaded and transferred either to me or to you. Okay. Then I've got another dream on the 31st of July 2022. Words, sentences with hooks is the main heading. So in this dream, there were words and sentences that were like strings, and they were moving around the room, and the words were jumping around on the string. It was all joined together with an invisible string, and they were dancing and alive, these words. And they basically became a long sentence, and each of them had a big hook on the end, and they were hooking into flesh in the skin. As I saw this, I could hear again and again the words and the sentences being hooked into the flesh, like fishing. With a hook and a string, the invisible string connected the words and the sentences, which were not visible, but seen and heard, and then hooked into the flesh, once spoken over and over, like it was not possible, but it was possible. Then in my dream on the 2nd of August 2022, I've got a dream about Napoleon being around in 300 or 400, Apollyon being the same guy, and Abaddon. In 1776, tried upside down, in opposite in years, turn Liberty statue upside down, BC and AD. Sometimes I don't know what the dreams mean, okay? Jesus alive, Jesus resurrected. Jesus here at the time of Apollyon, Napoleon, 400 plus 1,000 years, 1400 becomes 1700, reset, Napoleon is a big cloud, ball of smoke, first resurrection, others not awoken, second resurrection, the rest are woken up. These are all the notes. The saints live 1,000 years, and they would have to have bodies for that. The rest live for, 100 years. So there would be dead, probably people dying. I don't know. They live for 1,000 years, so that's fine. Place names, maps, Battle of Jerusalem, Nebuchadnezzar's names, Vatican, hidden books, 0 BC, lies, dinosaurs, mud flood, reset, orphan trains, incubator fairs, the revelation is playing out like a play. Games meet to figure out the truth in words. Giant game, GI, ant, like ants, meat and meat. I guess I'm just being shown that words have double meaning. And then predictions of Enoch, 5.5 days. We've got Alexander, maybe Alexander is Xerxes, Xerxes name, Xerxes maybe related to Christ, called King of Kings on Google and in the Bible. Esther is to test her, to find out if Cyrus is serious. Esther's brother, Esther's father, and Esther's children. Who were they? Their names hidden in the statues, places like Susa, and places like Susa as us. I'm sorry, I've got a tickle attack. Oh dear. So yeah, what else have I got here? Probably not much. You're going to get much from it. But these were my notes, probably mainly from the stream. Okay, let's move on to the next dream. Dream on the 3rd of August, Jean's Atom's Big Bus. I had a dream that I was talking to this man driving a bus, and we were right at the top of the bus, and it was going so fast that it had a clear glass roof, and it felt like you were going to hit the buildings above as you went under bridges and things. And also I got these words and some others, but very hard to remember, which is about the bus. I didn't write them down, sorry. And then on the 4th of August, Truth and Lies. I can barely remember my dream, but when I remember, the most important thing is about truth is a place. There's no lies allowed in that place. If we think of it as the truth is a people, as a tribe, and they are all together, then the tribe of lies can't go in. So I was shown like a village, of a circle of people, and inside were these people in blue and bluey white outfits, and the outside was dirty people, and they were full of lies, and they couldn't come in. That was in another dream, so I assume it connects. Okay. Then on the 5th of August, I had the dream Live. I was shown in my dream that the word lies does not have an F or a V, ending with F or V, and it becomes lives, and life. Do you know, in my dream, I was shown that there was so many lies, it was hard to find the truth. And if we could describe the devices, the entities and places, it was shown to me that Live had their own sort of dominion and truth was outside of it. I would like the village dream. It was like the village of the dream of truth. So you've got different divisions of dominions. So you've got Live and Truth. They're still in the same village, but they're different dominions. That's what I was shown. There was a lot more to this dream, but I can't remember. As I was writing this, the words as I typed, the word Anne came up. And I had a thought that maybe people's names of rulers tell us something as well. And the names of Anne, for example. Okay, and then the word together, him and her, on the 6th of August. So I had this dream, which I can barely remember, but basically we were following the story of him and her, and then we were following the story of him, and everything that we were told was the story to include him, but we didn't realize that she was also still part of the story as well, and it never left the scene. It appeared as if he and her had had a separation of some kind, but they were still telling the same story, and they came to the same conclusion at the ending. But many people don't know that she's there, because I think that's all about him, and it's also about her. Very interesting. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know why, but I had this feeling that maybe there was something about a divorce. But I didn't understand. It was either a divorce or a separation. But I knew that everyone at the end would know the truth about him and her. What I noticed in the dream is that she is also the words and the truth. So you will be able to find her, but you're not just going to find her easily. You have to search really hard. Maybe that's why they changed certain words around, removing God's name from the Bible. As in, also, maybe it's an evolving thing, as well. I've got the word evolved here. And then I've got, I might as well be honest with you, and just tell you something that's been occurring to me so much recently. A friend of mine said to me, in the 10 Commandments, you have the worship your mother and father. And I said, yeah. She said, well, what if that was our mother and father in heaven? I said, okay. I said, well, it's possible, but maybe it is. And then I've put that aside. And then I was shown yesterday and reminded, and it was put in my head, that Jesus says you will call no one else father but me, or teacher, or rabbi. And that when God created us, he says, let us make them in our image. And I don't know if God would be a single dad. That's the things I'm asking myself. So I just wonder what is going on. Because you can't have a chicken without an egg. And as far as I know, the egg couldn't put himself back together again. And you need a woman and a man to have children. And if God made us in his image, why didn't he just create man? Because you wouldn't need a woman, would you? Yeah? If we were created in God's image, then you don't need a woman, because we've only got one man God, haven't we? These are the questions I ask. And to make a family, we need a mother and a father and a son. So I think that's what I'm getting in my dreams. These things are making those questions come more to the surface, certainly for me. And so, obviously, we've only got the Bible. So, but the dreams obviously put these very, very important facts before my eyes, which is that it appears that some woman, or there's been a separation or a divorce or something. Don't know. Either way, that's what goes through my mind. Okay, so then on the 10th of August 2022, Goddess dream. Goddess going round in a circle, quotatus, goddess. So I had several words that went round in circles, and as they joined up, they made bigger words and were able to figure out the truth from that, like fruit, brought truth forever together to get her. Put the only word I can remember, the only word I could remember was the truth and fruit and goddess. The main one was goddess. And then I've got upside down, is it? Yeah. Upside down. And reminded to turn the 4th of July, 1776 on its head and read it upside down to get the year, which is 1226. Just to confirm that Jesus was here in the year 753, according to the Roman calendar, which is 0 BC. And I've also read in some other scriptures that Jesus was here for 400 years in some other strange books, but I don't know what significance they have. Also, then I was just reminded that Emmanuel wasn't born when he was supposed to be born. When David was told that he would have a son called Emmanuel, Emmanuel became Jesus, and also his son was called Solomon. So David's son was actually called Solomon, not Emmanuel. And Jesus is Emmanuel, supposedly. just those are the things that were pointed out to me, which I thought I'd jot down. Okay, next dream. Dream is mirror. She, 11th of August 2022. Life is a mirror movie. It's a reflection of the things that you can't see. How many people can realize that they can, whatever they see would frighten them? This is quite hard for people to accept. Woman, she. If S is F, is a F or a V. In wise, wife, water. She would be the S, and she would be the water, as in wisdom. Jesus is the bread, and she is the water. And wisdom of Jesus can lead you with the bread, like breadcrumbs. She would be the vine. I don't know what all this means. I was in the water and definitely enjoying myself because of the sea, which is in the ocean, but it also connects with the laws. So if she is the water, she would also be why people need to go to the bank to get the money, because you have to go to the bank of life, but you also have to go to the bank of the river to get the water. And that's why Jesus insists that you're baptized in water. So if S and V and F are the same, maybe that's why someone becomes a wife and then wise. These are all the things that I was shown in my dream. Should also be able to shine and is also vine. The bride would be bright as in shine. And you would cleave and she would be clever. He would have to wash in the water because the water washes all the dirt off, and maybe the S and the V is underneath, which is also an F. Weird. Okay, right. And then I've also got some other words which I wrote down: word and world, earth, heart, love, hear, ear, three, tree, heart, he, art, H. So these are just my notes, so I won't read those too much. But very interesting. Okay, so then I've got Dream Truth, 16th of August 2022. In my dream, I was reading the truth and explaining the words. And it was so simple to say to the people, this is the truth, but the words did not appear the same way to other people. So they didn't understand. When I looked at the words, like truth, the word knowledge would pop out, and wisdom. And I could see it, along with many other words that I was able to say and see by looking at one of the words next to it. I was explaining that the truth is knowledge, and it says in the words that it was written for me to say that the people didn't see the writing in the same way. So they could not see it and could not see the truth. The dream had a definite flow, and it flowed like a bit like a stream of sentences. And that's all I can remember. Okay, then on the 17th of August 2022, enlightenment. In my dream, it appeared that certain words connected with another spoken word in terms of velocity. They completed the sentences and ensured that you reached enlightenment. There was a few people that had reached enlightenment. The first one I noticed was a boy who was very tall. Diddly-dum. And had very long legs. And he won £25,000. For some reason, the vehicle that he had got out of had smoke coming out of it. And the one I got out of also. Then at the end, there was a girl who was a blue-eyed but black lady, very beautiful, and she was just about ready for enlightenment. I noticed all the other people were white and had reached the enlightenment. This boy that had won £25,000 wasn't bothered really, because he didn't really want to try again, even though he'd won the £25,000 job jackpot. I remember being surprised that he wasn't interested in trying to get anything more from it. But what I did find strange was that the very long legs and how tall he was. It appeared to me that he must have been a set of words that were spoken, that were connected with the sentences. Some words appeared to have more power. It also appeared to me that if you had the correct words and you connect them together and spoke them, then you could increase the velocity and the speed at which you had enlightenment. Also, I had the impression once you reached a certain level of enlightenment, you disappeared beyond the physical world, connecting up to the supernatural world of the spirit. Then a dream on the 18th of August 2022, Dream 1, treasure hunt. I was shown that God is the treasure of this treasure hunt. It was like I was being invited to go and hunt for the treasure. In the treasure hunt, I was previously on this adventure looking for a silver bangle, but I had changed my mind. Oh yes, I was a lesbian in this, and apparently, I've never been a lesbian, by the way, and I had a silver bangle, but I changed my mind about being a lesbian and changed to become a normal person for some reason. One of the major pieces of the treasure was this car, and another piece is Millie's corn. I was shown an old book of all the presidents, as in Mr. Roosevelt, and what he looked like, and the second and third presidents in this book. It was a really old book, and the whole world, all the leaders were in this book, along with maps. And the car also connected with the book and the Millie and the farm, as in the treasure hunt, somehow. Some very weird dreams. Okay, then I've got 18th of August 2022, Dream 2, treasure hunt, Archway. I was seeing that we were on a treasure hunt here on Earth, and we have to find the treasure. In the early part of the dream, I remember I was with my partner, possibly my ex-husband, and we needed to work at this farm, which was a mortuary. Since I only had £20,000 and I didn't want to go through that money really quickly, we were working in the dream. I was logically thinking about the cost of everything and how quickly £20,000 would run out. So we planned to work at this place before we had claimed the land. I remember thinking, what a horrible place to work at this mortuary. Then in the dream, I was in Africa meeting some people, and there was some singing lessons at a strange building with some people there, and they were eating as well. There was like a dining area. In another part of the dream, we were all dealing with dead bodies, and that was our job. At the funeral, it was like the funeral director was very busy. And then I went over and spoke to one of the people there, one of the black people, and asked them about the camping area. And they said that there was this camping area at the back. Then I spoke, and they said, yes, there was. And I wanted to exchange details with this gentleman so I could find out where to camp. I remember thinking to myself, I needed to be careful because I didn't really want anybody to know where I might be camping. And then I was standing by the fence with these other people. And then I saw some ladies, and they looked like black people, and they were all very well dressed. And this one lady was giving out gifts to her friends, which is a bag full of Marks and Spencer's perfumes. And they'd all traveled from all over the world regularly. And I thought to myself, I wish I could do that. And I could smell really beautiful perfume from this bag. And it was from quite a distance away. And then I was shown an area for catering outside, these people. And some people had come and arrived in coaches. And I'd seen, in the beginning of the dream, the same area where the dining area was and the singing lessons. The coaches parked next to that. And for some reason, there was this big celebration. I was the only one who could load the oven with the food. But first, we had to clear the trays that had food on, and we had to dispose of the rubbish and prepare the new food. Anyway, there was another lady who was also able to load the food on, and I had the other things to do, so off I went. In another part of the dream, there was some fireworks that would happen once every 12 years or something to this date. And they still weren't happy with the name of the 12-year cycle that we were in, and they were thinking of renaming it, even though we had been using it and it was going to be changed the following year. From what I can tell, it was year 11 of the 12-year cycle, so we didn't have long to come up with another name for the new 12-year cycle. And still, for some reason, they weren't happy about the name of the 12-year cycle. And I thought it was strange. The name of the cycle was integral to use this process, and perhaps even the name being renamed was part of the cycle process. It also occurred to me that treasure hunt is something to do with 360 degrees and 360 days in the year cycle. Jesus died and was resurrected after 3 days, and somehow this was connected with archways, which would connect you to doorways to God somehow. The treasure was finding God in the dream. In my dream, I had everything I needed. I just needed to find God. I was further ahead than most people from what I could tell. But the archways seemed to be very important. These are the archways and arteries that are all over the world. Perhaps a 360 degree is an angle or a part of four different cycles. Finally, at the very end of the dream, I was being shown by a gentleman who ran the mortuary. He said all of the dead bodies were quite normal, but I knew that there was something fishy about the whole thing. I remember coming out of this building, which let me out into this area where we'd served the food, which had been prepared, the food where all the old food went. And this is also the place where the bodies went. As well as coming out of the door, there were some boys with me, and I said to them, "Do you want to know how to speak your name properly and loudly?" So they looked at me, and I said, "You need to be able to say it with force and loudly." And they said, "Okay." So I spoke this, but I realized it wasn't going to be possible to do it inside. So I took them outside, ready to show them how to shout and sing their name at the loudest point of their vocal cords. So we went outside to do that. I knew that the voice was so strong that I needed to be outside to do this. I remember trying to teach them how to say A-E-I-O-U very loudly. That's why I thought maybe this place was related to singing. But also, the name of this 12-year cycle had something to do with singing. Next to the oven, with the bodies, you'd see the bodies were covered with stone frames and a lid, which was open, and you could see the bodies inside. Somehow, I worked at this place, and I don't really understand. The bodies were loaded between the trays of dirt and the oven for the new food, and the restaurant area is on the opposite side of the dirty trays in what looked like a wooden type of cavern with glass windows, With the archway, it occurred to me maybe you have to go through the archway of every area to do a certain process within the 3 days and the day of resurrection in order to qualify to be transported through the archways. Also, as I was waking up, my text message recording told me that I had a message saying, knock on the door and it will be opened, and seek and you will find. Where your treasure is, I will be also. This confirms that we are on a treasure hunt on earth. It is a treasure hunt to find God, but also to find the archways and all the dots that connect. The 360 degrees, the 12-year cycles, and the 3.5 days for the sun to be resurrected. It's a resurrecting cycle. It happens over and over again. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, it's a very intense dream, and I don't know if you know, but I found out recently that humans are being eaten. So now that dream, which is nearly a whole year ago, or half a year ago, is all about human bodies in a mortuary and being served food, and that the food's right next to the bodies. It's very weird. Maybe you have to have death to have life, and they've got the ovens, as in cooking. It's very, very interesting. You've got the cooking pot, the wrath of God. I don't know. But the 360 degrees, it's very interesting, is that, because all the roads are called 180, aren't they? And that's because you're on a flat plane, because if you take a circle of 360 and you cut it in half, it's a flat plane of 180 degrees. So they know that the earth is flat. So then I had the thought, maybe Zion is inside us, maybe we are the mountain, but also maybe we are Jerusalem, because I know that Jerusalem is Salem, which is peace. And then I know also that the beast opens the pit and the locusts have sharp tails, and they have got sharp tails, which would probably be the blue banana, which sting everybody, and the liquid, which will construct itself in the people. Says this in the Revelation, basically, if you read it properly. So the liquids self-construct and assimilate. So this means that maybe Jerusalem is us, and it involves the new heaven and the new earth. Also, Paul records that we be made new, and we'll float up and be illuminated. Maybe that's a level of ascension in spiritual sense. So then I've also got, in my next dream, 21st of August 2022, records. In this dream, I saw a Rastaman playing records and mixing records for his music. I wondered if the Lord was trying to show me that there are two records of history, and this is playing out simultaneously at the same time, like you would blend music together. I also heard other things in my dream about cars with music in, and a really good CDs, but I also don't really know how they related to this dream. I saw bunk beds as well, and people sleeping like students in a sort of doubled up bunk beds. What I did get was a dream yesterday where I was shown that the truth was being blended with the lies, and it was so hard to remember that I didn't write the dream down. But that was the essence of the dream the night before. But I think it somehow connects with this, and it's being a twisting of the records and blending it with a new version of history. Final thoughts, maybe it's music and new lips, speaking the truth and understanding the truth. Then my dream on the 22nd of August 2022, L, Eve, N, as in 11. In my dream, I was shown that Alpha is L, Eve is 11 and N. N is the combination of L and Eve, which creates N. It also related to the number 11, which opens the door from 10, which gives birth to 11, which is L plus I plus Eve plus N. This must mean that all the numbers, as in 1 to 10, have meaning as well. This means that the Y and the X chromosomes are also connected with the numbers, as in the mantra, Geomantra. G-manta, go. Geomantra. This means if you need to get to the beginning, you'll get to the beginning and you'll know the end. Because it is 0, as in giving birth. And X marks the spot, which is also a Z. So X, Y, Z, as in ABC, the beginning and the end. And the Lord is the alphabet. It could also mean that L, as in L, is an odd number. So plus 11 is even by adding a number, N. This will also mean it's about sounds and double and C and L and S and cells, and also the beginning and the end, which repeat again and again and repeat again and again. This means that X is S, which is the F, which is the V. So the woman is the double X, and as in XX on the chromosomes, and the man is an XY. Then since we know that X is 10 and the Y is an extension of 10, which is given birth to 10, which is X to Y. So everything in the numbers goes back to the alphabet, which is also alive. As in the letters take action, they create their own sentences, which are also alive, and each letter has its own motion, which is its own letter, which is its own world and nucleus, which is contained within each word, which is contained within each sentence. This means that the word truly is alive. It's an eight, as is an 8 letter, is a letter that you would write to someone, which contains a set of words in a sentence. But it's also a letters and a story within a letter. So it's lots of double meanings. What else have I got? It's a bit like Ezekiel's wheel within a wheel, story within a story. It's like a ledger. It tells another story. That's why it's a story within a story. And it must be number 10, which is the beginning and the end, where the cycle begins again, as in 11, where you join together and they create a new doorway, which is the gate, which is a portal to another world and gives birth to a whole new existence, as in 0, which becomes 11. And round you go. So L plus Eve equals N, which is a new child and a new beginning and a new set of letters, which would all contain their own words and sentences, etc. Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. This is why God is called the Alpha and the Omega, as in the alphabet. Because reality is not real. Everything in the world confirms that God is real, but we don't exist. We are only a thought of the author, which is the authority, which is called the Omega, and the Alpha, which is the author of the words and the letters, which contain the words, which contain the sentences, which contain the letter, which all have their own domain, universe, identity, beginning and end, a wheel within a wheel, the Alpha and the Omega. So since we do not exist, only God exists, then we need to work out how to get from this existence and join together with the sentences, as in the written words of the book of life, and become part of the reality of God. Maybe that's why Jesus came here in the word, in the flesh, so that we can all join in through the sentence where he died on the cross, as in the sentence of words, for becoming part of the original sentence, and paying for a crime he didn't commit, as in words as well, and which he created in the beginning. We must have got lost somewhere in translation, as in trans world. This is just my thinking. All praise to the Alpha and the Omega, who does exist. Maybe that's why Jacob is called Israel, because it's all about proving whether you are real. It's not about proving whether God is real, because he is real. Israel, the Alpha and the Omega, blow your mind. You may well just get a gun and stick it to your head, because this is so much to take in your poor little head, for me anyway. Serious note, it's blow your mind. The more I get to know God, the more I'm in love with God. Just a quick thought, maybe G is a number, which would make sense, because the Gnostic Gospels go on about the numbers as well. And so those are just some of my thoughts on some of those final things. What else have we got? Yeah, lost in translation. And it looks like Satan is definitely in control of this world, because he's dead, lived backwards, devil. 11 must be a supreme opening for a new creation, which I believe is male and female. This must mean that we, when we're woken up, become part of the 11, which is the doorway. It takes place after number 10, and we're stuck at number 7. So this has a different levels as well. But we know that God is the Alpha and the Omega, which is 11. L11, God equals 7 plus 4, as in 11. And maybe that's why Satan calls himself a dog, because he's also 11 then. Perhaps this is about the stars too, and the planets. 7 planets, the 7 planets, the sun and the moon, Adam, a day, Eve as an evening. But we've also got the sun, and then we've got the moon. Abba, Adam, we got Adam, which is Adam. Yes, we've got a Cain and Abel, which is Can and Abel. A plus B, 3 or 2, and L. Cain opposite to I am, as in IA, AI, in intelligence, AI. And God is IA, as in our maker. This must mean that M is the part of the 11. I, alpha, male, and the omega comes together with the 11, makes it the extra one, as in the I. I don't know. And we just go round in circles again, through the doorway, through the birth, recycle, going round and round, time within a time. So it's about proving that you're real, because we know that God's real. So these are the dreams that I get. Some of them are quite incredible. Okay, a lot of my dreams seem to imply that the Lord has more than just himself, just from the dreams. That there is a family, and that we are the children of God, and he wants to grow the family. So all we can do is wait for everything to unravel and reveal itself in the truth, because the Lord is the truth, and we will know the truth. I just pray that we're all worthy and ready for his arrival. He is so majestic and amazing. The reason I covered so much on these dreams is because I'm hoping to catch up, so I can do a sermon with the final set of dreams, and then start again next year with my dreams for next year. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I don't know if you get anything from these dreams. Some of it doesn't make a lot of sense, and but some of it makes a lot of sense to me. Some of it's really answered questions, and then I've actually had things that have come to me in my dreams, which are in the Bible. It's like the Lord's confirming it, and they'll go, oh, wow, that's amazing. Like, I had it in a dream that we are letters within the word, and we also had the string of letters attaching to the flesh and hooking in, and Jesus says we're fishermen. So related, all of it's very incredible. So, yeah, I think it's all very interesting. Obviously, we also have dreams that are strange, don't we, as well? So I just write them all down and hope that I get something from it. Because we know that the Lord loves us and He's with us. So amazing that we can have a relationship with our Creator at one-to-one level. Blow your mind. And so, yeah, I'm going to bring it to a close there. And I just hope you had a lovely evening. Let me close with a sinner's prayer. Dear Lord Jesus, I know that you came to earth and died on the cross for my sins. I know that you are the Son of God. I beg your forgiveness for my sins. I know that I'm a sinner and I wish to follow you. I'm washed clean by the blood of Jesus. I cast out all demons, hexes, curses, witchcraft, Satan and his cronies in the name of Jesus. And if my family have followed pagans, witchcraft, Satanism, Freemasons or the Masons, or any tarot readers, or any Ouija boards or pagan festivals, I ask that you release us from any generational curses and break those chains in the name of Jesus. I am washed clean by the blood of Jesus Christ. I ask for blessings and that you'll give financial stability to me and all listeners that are in houses, that they'll have enough funds to cover their overheads, for their bills, for their property, for their transport, and they'll have enough money coming in with their jobs. Where doors are closing, you will open new doors, and anything Satan uses to hurt us will be used as a blessing, and you will show favor to your children. I pray this now, that we will have the light of Jesus to help others, to share the truth, and that we will have enough understanding and wisdom to get through this, that you will pour your Spirit on us and open our brains so that we can fit all of this new information in and comprehend it and give us understanding. Let us lean on you, Lord, not on man. And may it be for your glory, everything in the earth, and that every knee shall bow before you. Our wonderful Counselor, mighty Jesus, who died on the cross for us. Thank you, Jesus, for setting us free from death, sin and darkness and Satan, and for loving us wretches. I thank you in Jesus' mighty name. I pray all the demons flee and are petrified as well, and that we are under your wings at all times, that you'll walk with us, before us, and straighten any crooked paths. And if there's any areas that we need to work on within ourselves, that you will help us with that, because we know that we haven't got the power to do these things, but you have, through your Holy Spirit who you've poured on us, that we are the temple of the Lord. May we not be an embarrassment to you. May you be pleased with us, and be pleased that we are proving to be good children, that you'd be happy to have us as your children. I pray this now in the name of Jesus. It's Aisha from God FM. Take care. Bye.